Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Couple of comments before we get started. All right. So one of the things that I see happening, you know, um, I didn't trade much today. I'm just writing the SQs down. I don't want to be buying puts here, but it looks like we're just gonna have to short these pops. Be very careful over the next several days, at least for the rest of the foreseeable future, this month at least. Don't waste your buying power in the morning, right? Because if you guys have seen, majority of the moves have been happening towards the late afternoon last couple of days, right? That's been kind of the trend. So if you try to, let's say, nail the bottom, nail the top, scalp back and forth and chasing candles, you need to stop, right? And then just step back and conserve your power, your buying power. Because once a big drawdown or even a pump or rally starts, then you have buying power. Okay. So if you're struggling with that, that's what's up. And I've noticed too is that typically what happens is that for as I don't want to say the market is manipulated, but these market makers know, right? They know all the retail traders are chasing stuff. Okay, so they chop it around in the morning and make you waste up all your buying power, right? And then when the big move comes, then that's when you are out of buying power. Does that make sense? So I noticed that during the mornings where there is better volume, that's when all the retail traders are scalping back and forth, and then they drop the markets, right? Or pump the markets, or vice versa. All right. Number two, all right. Seasonality wise, uh, it's the season. There's going to be a choppy mess intraday, and there's going to be good moves down or up, whatever. So just be aware of that. Don't be disheartened, right? If you're on the winning side, congratulations, awesome job. All right. But if you're ending up chasing candles and losing stuff like that throughout the day, it's not a good feeling because of how choppy this market can be, right? Before they finally drop it, or make a move such as this today that we've seen. So try to take some time off, try to relax, try to not to trade for the rest of the week. Tomorrow there's OPEX. Okay. OPEX days are choppy at best. Okay. You may see some more drawdown. Sure. Open to it. Right. But you might just get an inside day tomorrow, or you just get a simple little doji range tomorrow because we've had 3 straight drawdown days, and that's three black crows, right? And that's a lot of lows. 4 sets of lows this week. Okay, so far every single day. So what I'm saying is that you never know when they're going to start reversing the market. Plus it's OPEX. Plus the market is heavy right now in put side. So you don't know when that rally or that, let's say whatever you want to call it, a fake rally triggers. All right. So here we go. Where are we looking for support at this point, right? We know we have some volume support at 436, and it's looking a little shaky too. All right. You have ascending volume on the last 3 days. So yeah, there's some capitulation happening. Okay. A lot of scare in the markets regarding what's happening in China, Japan, and all that. Your next big critical support, we look back now to August of 2022. On August 16th, August 17th, the market topped out right before Jackson Hole's speech and sank the markets, right? And we're back in this cycle again. It looks very similar in certain ways, but the issue right now is that we don't have, or the plus thing, the positive side of things is that we're not facing a 9% inflation year over year like we did last July. So that's pretty different sets of backdrop in terms of the macro. What's not good is your 10-year yields, okay, and your dollar, all right? With a rising dollar and a rising 10-year yield is going to continue to put pressure on equity markets. So just be careful out there. But what are we looking at for support for tomorrow? Can 436 hold at least tonight? right? If 436 does not hold tonight, then we're looking at, looking at into, let's say, 434 with the lows of June 28th, and of course 430 June 28th, where we saw these lows. It is at 431. When we actually rose up in March and throughout most of this year, when we popped over that 438 or 431, sorry, and came all the way back down to retest that breakout, is where we did make a big move, right, to 460. So all we're looking for the rest of this week, at least, is 436 going to hold, and if not, are they going to chop it down into the 433, 431 range? And that's entirely possible. If these levels do not hold, certainly you are looking now at 422 support. I'm sorry, 422 gap fill. All right. Couple of good things that happened today, which was kind of cool, is that number one, the Microsoft gap has filled. It does have a gap down here. Not worried about this gap, just wondering what the reaction is after filling this gap. Apple also filled a gap today, blew way past it at 176 level and dumped $3 more down. So we're back here at 174, and you have a gap at 167, down to 167 after 170. All right, so 170 is going to be really critical support. Remember back in May, the market continuously held 170 for 2 straight weeks, if you remember, and then it took off right back in May. Okay, so after this earnings gap up, right, it held that gap, it defended that gap. So that's where I'll actually be looking for support, are the buyers going to defend that gap? If it does, 170 could be a sweet spot for Apple. Tesla, of course, filled as well. The 222 finally ending up at 218 here in the post market. Another one is Meta, right? Meta actually filled a while ago. I just didn't realize it's under 300, but it's right now, it's below the earnings, well below the earnings gap of a 301. And you see the stochastics grinding all the way down so far. So, as far as I see it, yep. Looks like 448 was the top for the week, okay? And I think this is going to come down a little bit more tomorrow. But again, it's OPEX tomorrow. They can hold up the markets. They can chop it within range just to screw with your money and your premiums. So you just got to be careful tomorrow with OPEX. It's a lot of sideways action. But we're looking for at least 436 to hold tomorrow. If 436 does not hold, then it's looking more like at least in the immediate future, in the next week or so, we're going to see this August highs get tested. All right. Hope y'all have a great evening, and we'll be back tomorrow.